Welcome back to the Petit Chateau Bleu. We're getting ready to put the frame and a donor trailer underneath the Boler, but before I do that, I wanted to seal up all the joints and cracks. So I've gone through some caulking, sealed it all up, and now we're just putting on some exterior paint to kind of protect the wood. So I'm just putting all that stuff on. When it's done, we should be ready to slip everything underneath. Surrogate frame is now underneath the Boler, and I have raised the surrogate frame up on jack stands, as you can see, and I'm now in the process of lowering the Boler down onto the frame, the surrogate frame. It is a little bit of a tight fit right here, so this as this drops down, we can push the Boler that way. The Boler itself, like the fiberglass shell, will get pushed that way a little bit so that this tucks underneath. There's going to be some trimming to be done in here, a custom piece to put in this gap, but I won't know what that is until we have the thing right down. You can see I'm very close. The back is down a little bit farther than the front, but yeah, we're getting there. So just a little bit farther and we'll be set. This is simply the process I'm using. So one turn is about 1/16 of an inch, maybe 1/10 of an inch on these threads. I'm not sure, I have to check that. But I just do a little bit on each one. Check our progress. Then come back. So let's see how we're doing. In fact, that one, there we are. We're getting close with this. I'll check our progress. Now with a little bit of finagling, a little up and down, a little adjustment here and there, we now have the Boler sitting on the surrogate frame. Now, truth be told, this piece is not bolted yet to the donor frame, but I'm going to first attach the Boler to this wooden structure, and then I'm going to bolt the whole business to the metal frame, the donor frame. Now, that's going to require some drilling upside down and whatnot to get the brackets in place, but I can do that. I would rather do that and have everything solid. So this gives me the structure that I need, where I can now finish some of the inside work. I need to finish that window. I need to repair the seating brackets that go around there. That's the end of the fiberglass work. Actually, no, there's more work here. I got to do this door frame, all these staples and little holes and whatnot. And I want to beef up this structure here a little bit better for the door. At least I'm thinking about that. What we would like to do is put in a bigger piece here, a wood piece, where we could attach a screen door. So a little bit of work to do there, but let me finish up with this frame and subframe and donor trailer and surrogate business. I gotta come up with a better name for all of this that I can say in one mouthful. Our wooden structure is now screwed on to the Boler itself, and what I'm doing now is creating some brackets to attach our subframe to the donor trailer. So I had a number of brackets, 6 of them that were like this, that were given to me a little while ago. And I've cut them down to be like this and drilled a hole. One of the nice things about these brackets is they have a square hole suited for that carriage bolt. So the carriage bolt is going to go through that hole, through the frame, and then I can tighten it up. Of course, I'll use a lock washer, not a flat washer, on the other side. And going through here, that hole has been drilled. The intention being, imagine this is the frame. This will go through the bracket, through the wooden subframe, and tighten on the inside. I have to drill some access holes on the inside to get at those, but that's a minor thing. So that's where we are at the moment. I have drilled the holes in the frame. It was an operation that required about 5 different drill bits, but I now have that hole going right through. So this bracket sits in here like this, and I have to drill that hole now through. That's a little bit of a challenge because it's a very tight and confined space, but fortunately Ryobi and Rigid work together. So with my little Ryobi oscillating tool, I've got a Rigid Job Max right angle drill head, and I can get that up into the space to drill that hole. So nice to have that little attachment for the oscillating tool. Okay, I'm going to mount that, put a bolt through the frame and that bracket so I know where to drill this hole. Back in a minute. So we've got the brackets in all 4 corners now attached to the subframe, attaching the subframe to the donor trailer. And this bolt here goes right through this 2x6. And originally I was planning to use a lock nut on the inside, but I had second thoughts of that, primarily for somebody wanting to do future maintenance, and it's a real pain to try and get in there and hold a nut on the other side of this. So instead what I've done is I've used a T-nut in the 2x6 and pulled it in tight. So I put the lock washer on this side. I don't need to have a lock washer and nut on the other side. So just by undoing that bolt, that'll free up the subframe from the trailer frame. Now, similarly, you could undo these bolts here, these 4 nuts holding it down, and could lift by taking off these nuts. You would wind up lifting this subframe. By taking off these nuts, you would wind up lifting just the trailer, leaving the subframe attached to the trailer. So getting those in was a little bit of a trick. Let me show you what I did. So the first step was drilling a hole in the floor, and just down in there you can see the bolt and the T-nut coming through. Now getting that T-nut onto that bolt was a bit of a challenge. What I wound up doing was attaching the T-nut to the end of that magnet on a stick. Is one of these expandable magnetic things. One of these tools that you use so infrequently you wonder why you have it, but boy, I sure used it this time. So what I did, this was a bit of a kludge, but it worked. So I had the T-nut attached to that magnet, put it through the hole, and placed it on the bolt. So it's just kind of sitting there, just gently. And then I used my drill for counterweight and just applied a little bit of gentle pressure. Hardly anything, just a little bit of gentle pressure. Then I went outside and tightened the bolt, just with my fingers, until it engaged the threads. And once it had engaged the threads, then I came back in, removed the magnet, and I used a little crowbar that I've got here, a pry bar, and pressed that T-nut into the 2x6 so that the teeth of the T-nut would bite into the 2x6. And then that gave me, held the T-nut securely enough that I could then go out and tighten it down on the outside with a wrench. So a little bit of a process, took me a few attempts to get that working right, but in the end it worked. So here we are in the Boler now. The Boler is back down on its wheels. All of the substructure work is done. Now I can finish off this window and then start thinking about the cabinets. So we're into interior work now. So huge step forward to get everything back settled where it should be. And given that we're experiencing some light rain over the next few days, I've taped up the windows. You can see how the Boler is now sitting. It's 14 inches at the door. It's 14 inches off the ground. The wheels and tires are about 2 inches farther than they were off the original donor trailer, but they still have clearance inside the wheel well. So that's all good. Very happy with that. And I've got some plans for doing up some taillights. A little bit unusual taillights, but I saw some that somebody had done in the UK and I thought, man, that looked really cool. So I'm going to try doing that. But there we are. So I have been taking advantage of the good weather to get as much of this done as I could. I am a little bit behind on what I wanted. I want to put on some cork insulation on the inside, but that is too weather dependent, temperature dependent specifically. And I am running out of the good weather. So a couple bits of fiberglass on the inside, that window of course, and the seat rack on the back part needs to be redone. Apart from that, we are good. I could now happy to tow this and put some lights on it. I could tow it anywhere. I'm happy with it. Well, that's the adventure. I'll call that a video for today. Happy to have it back where it's supposed. This is kind of where I was hoping it would be when we bought it, but it needed a lot of work. And I'm happy to have done the work, got rid of all the rot, and we now have something good and solid to work with. So, now I've called this channel Le Petit Chateau Bleu. We were originally planning to paint that kind of a pale blue, but that may change. So, Petit Chateau Bleu in name only. We may wind up with something else, but that's down the road. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.